assumes that Washington actually will go off that cliff. Will?
You know, my takeaway is a little bit different. I think the American public is complacent about these types of stories because not that they're certain we'll go over the cliff, but that they're certain that the government will continue to function as it always does, as a self-licking ice cream cone. I mean, I think most of Americans look at impeachment proceedings and go, nothing will come of it. No one will be held accountable. And people look at this brinksmanship over the debt ceiling and think, the government won't really shut down. They'll strike an 11th hour deal. And why would Americans think that? Because they do. They always do. There's always enough. The government always
we've
finds
seen
a way to
shutdowns.
continue to fund itself.
2 years ago, 3 years ago. Remember, we've seen shutdown. Actually, I think it was 2018, maybe. No, we've seen it on the Democrats' watch. Yeah.
And how long was that? Like a couple of days.
Months. It was a little bit.
Government shut down for a couple.
It was a little bit.
Yeah, look, I think that the American public understands. Look, I think that you have a really difficult situation that's embodied within the Republican Party. We need extreme, drastic measures to get our spending under control. As long as interest rates continue to fly up like this, we are looking, just like a household income, at absolute bankruptcy here as a nation. We do also understand that government, by its very nature, is a business of compromise. So the question is, how can we get to something that really staves off this impending bankruptcy of entitlements and spending and make real reform to America while convincing a party that thinks the only way out is spending more that we need to make a deal? That is the problem we are sitting in. I don't think we have any real risk of our government shutting down for any extended period of time.
All right, I'm going to fact check myself. Okay, let's move to this. New York State and New York City are dealing with a tiny fraction of the illegal immigrant crisis hitting the border states like Texas and Arizona. But it's enough to get Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul of New York to start to sing a different tune now. The sanctuary state leader now is going after the Biden administration's border policy.
Like I told you about the commercial, boy, watch. They be hurrying up and jump another commercial on you before you can click that bitch. All day to click that bitch.
We want them to have a limit on who can come across the border. It is too open right now. People coming from all over the world are finding their way through, simply saying they need asylum, and the majority of them seem to be ending up in the streets of New York, and that is a real problem for New York City.
One editorial hit Hochul for suddenly realizing America has a border crisis. It calls her current citizens' right to shelter policy is in effect. And until it's gone, New York's poverty pleadings will be taken seriously by no one. Governor Hochul apparently has an ally in former President Clinton. Watch.
Up here, and we're supposed to shelter people who can't get work permits for 6 months. And there's just no, we need to change that. It's broken, and we need to fix it.
So he wants to infuse more people into the workforce that we cannot vet because we're outnumbered at this point at the border, and as you fan out clearly in some of these blue-led cities. We don't have the opportunity to properly vet them. But he wants to infuse them even more into our lives.
Yeah. In other words, issue an invitation through an incentive. You're going to end up with a job in America.
Yep.
You know, Hochul is fascinating, Harris. There's a clip running around the internet from Hochul in 2021 where she's really pandering to the idea that the Statue of Liberty says, give us you're tired, you're weak, you're poor, and you're hungry. You know, and therefore, send us everyone, she says, who's a refugee. Send us everyone illegally. Of course, the message of the Statue of Liberty and its neighboring island in Ellis Island was come legally to the United States of America, not illegally through an open border. 2 years ago, she's issuing an invitation, open borders, send us everyone. Now she's having to live under the real-world implications of her pandering 2 years ago, and she's like, oh, maybe that was a bad idea. As so many progressive theories and ideas, when applied in practicality and in real life, people buckle under the pressure, crime, illegal immigration, and go, maybe we need to dial this back. Or maybe you should have dialed back your rhetoric for the past several years.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what they've done to the police forces across the country, I mean, all of it. And I wonder what the current mayor of New York City is going to say about his campaign promise to let illegals vote. I mean, wasn't that part of you being a sanctuary place? And is he taking all of that lingo back now? All right, Elon Musk, I'm sure we all watched it, his border visit.